Stephen Michael Zach here, and I'm here with Brandon from Aputure, and I was just telling him how I was looking at light panels, and of course the day after I was looking, here they are. So why don't you tell me a bit about the light panels?
Yeah, here. So here are the Amaran F21c, F22c, F21x, and F22x. These are our Amaran flexible LED mats. So they come in two types of form factors. The 21x's and the 21c's are 2x1 LED mats, whereas the 22s are 2x2 LED mats. So that's how the naming convention works. And then the X and the C stands for bicolor or full color. So everything in this range, in this group of 4 products, 2 of them always share some sort of characteristic, and they all share a similar control box design. They basically have the same control box shape. So everything is really easy to use, and like everything is really similar to work with. If you have one, you can use any of the others as well. And basically, if you've used any Aputure light or any Amaran light beforehand, you're going to be able to use these as well because they have a very similar UI and the same functionalities that you'd come to expect from a lot of Aputure products. The Amaran F21c and F22c are full color fixtures, which means they use RGB WW technology to match the rest of the Aputure and Amaran lineup. So like the MC uses RGB WW technology, the B7C, the Nova P300C, the new LS600C Pro. These have a color temperature range, and the bicolors as well, of a 2500 Kelvin to 7500 Kelvin. So you're going to get really warm as well as really cool white light. And then in your full color F21c and F22c, you also still get green magenta shift control. On top of that, you have 46 color gel presets, you have HSI control, you have tons of different effects, and the all the F-series lights have on the control box a small USB port, a USB-C port. And that USB-C port is actually a special USB-C port that we developed a special cable for called a USB-C to DMX512 adapter.
Nice.
So this allows you to adapt both the Amaran tube and the Amaran flexible light series into DMX using DMX512, so you can use Sidus Link or you can use DMX. And we did a USB-C port, one to create a thing that was simple to use and compatible with everything that we want it to be, including the flexible light mats, including the tube lights, but also particularly in the tube lights, it needed to have a super slim form factor so that this port doesn't jut out and make it really complicated for everyone to use. This USB-C port keeps everything super small, and it's something that we work to design the pins for so that it is like programmed for DMX.
Well, now does the micro USB, does that power like Lumen radio type stuff if you're going to do Lumen radio like DMX, that kind of stuff?
So that USB-C port, basically when you plug it in to do that DMX512, you are taking up that
system,
port.
so it does power a system.
You're taking up the DMX12 port, the USB port with the cable.
Gotcha,
so you wouldn't be able to plug anything into the cable necessarily.
Gotcha.
That being said, we're talking more about the flexible light mats. All of these come with a softbox, and they all come with 2 types of diffusion, a half-grid diffusion, so something for thinner, if you just need all the lights to be cohesive and then still get that punch. And if you want it to be a lot softer, we have a 2.5 stop diffusion, just like all of our softboxes that come with. And of course, every single time we come with a 45-degree light control grid, just because we know that spill is always going to be an issue, and if you want to control that, then that grid is going to help you give out a lot more depth to your seats.
Sure. Now, do these fold up or do they roll up? Or?
They can do either or. So they're flexible mats, so they can fold or roll really easily, and they store all in the same size case. So you can, this 2x2 also folds and stores in the same case as the 2x1. And then you can take them out into the frame. Right now, these are all supported with the X support frames, but you can take them out, roll them, put them in any shape that you need because they are flexible mats through and through.
Nice, very nice, very nice. Yeah, let's face it, Dad's getting old. He doesn't want to have to carry. I mean, I love the 300Xs and 300Ds, but the fact that you now have a lightweight option saves me a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the 2x1, I believe, F21X is less than a kilogram just by itself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And then these are the things we've all been waiting for. These are their Amaran tube lights.
Mm-hmm. So these are the Amaran tubes. This is the T2c and T4c. As you can see, they come with an external battery handle and a load of different functionality. Like I mentioned, they have a USB-C to DMX ports on the back of these lights, and it all is controlled using a very intuitive interface, just like we have with the MC. One of the big things that we did with the Amaran tube lights was, hey, we know we can't make the perfect tube light, but let's solve a lot of issues that we have with tube lights.
Sure.
And then let's still try to do this whatever we can for a more price-conscious audience and at as affordable of a price point as we can. So the Amaran T2c is $199 for this 2-foot tube and the battery handle, and the Amaran T4c is $329 for the tube and the battery handle, which I think personally is like a crazy price point. So alongside this, you have NATO rail running along the entire back of the tube. This allows you to easily mount the tube using a NATO rail clamp. So any existing clamps you already have, you can see one on the truss over there, or maybe they took it off, basically mounted via NATO rail. At the same time, you also have 6 quarter 20 screws and 3 3/8" screws that have area locating pins for anti-twist, so you can mount them with these arms. And in addition, we're also going to be down the road releasing some baby pins that have the area locating pins and that have the NATO rails, because we found that on the market there weren't any other solutions for that. But this is something that we developed to have a much more elegant and simple solution than having to buy a whole new tube clamp, than having to buy a Cardellini that clamps down into your tube and makes you feel like you're putting too much pressure on it, like you're going to break it.
I'm using super clamps right now.
Exactly. So you want something that's a little more elegant and thought out to work with the tube as well as it can. So that's why we included all these mounting points. And as you can see, the battery actually quick locks in it too. So there's a little locking system in here, and the battery just basically slips right on.
So you do need the handle to power it.
If you are using battery power, you are using the handle to power it. And the reason that we went with that is because we also wanted to solve several issues regarding tubes when it comes to batteries. With tubes that have batteries inside of them, they're incredibly heavy. So if you want something more lightweight when you're powering a AC power, you're trying to rig it up in like some lightweight situation, this decreases the weight dramatically of the tube. The 2-foot tube is one of the lightest, is like pretty much the lightest full color tube on the market, if you feel it right here.
Wow.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
It is ridiculously lightweight.
Right.
And that's because we were able to take a lot of the battery out of it.
Right, you take the chunk out, the weight out of it, yeah, sure.
And this also allows the battery to become significantly larger. So this is a 77 watt-hour battery. It's the same battery that powers the T4c and the T2c. This gives the T4c up to 4 hours of runtime at full output, and it gives the T4c up to like 1.7 hours of runtime at full output. So that's how you're going to get that long battery life, because this is 77 watt hours. In addition, by taking the batteries outside of the tube, you're making it so the battery heats up less and the LEDs heat up less. So this protects the longevity of the LEDs, it protects the longevity of the batteries, because eventually batteries degrade. And that is the same for our batteries, that's the same for other manufacturers' batteries. Our batteries have a recharge cycle, so that it basically maintains 80% recharge after 500 cycles. But there are some competitors who are only maintaining 70% charge after 300 cycles. And part of that is due to the limitations of the technology. It's not a knock on them, but it's when their batteries heat up so often because the batteries right next to the LED, that's going to happen where the batteries just degrade a lot more quickly. And by having it separate, we're able to protect the batteries. In addition, you're also able to just pretty much swap out batteries if you need to. If your
it's fully replaceable.
It's fully replaceable, both in terms of on-set, you can replace it with a new fresh battery. You don't have to swap it for a whole new tube. And in terms of when the battery inevitably dies, you're actually able to just buy a new battery, send this in for repair, rather than having to send in the whole tube or buy a whole new tube.
Right, because we know those downtimes when you have to have something repaired.
Exactly.
Can really halt the production, get really pretty tough.
Exactly. So this basically solved a lot of the issues that we thought we had with tubes. And of course, these are fully side-to-stem controlled, these and the flexible light mats. So you don't need another transmitter to do anything. You can connect to these tubes directly, control them straight from your phone or your iPad.
Very, very, very cool. Very cool.
All right here.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the tube lights, but more excited about this.
Oh yeah, the flexible light mat, that's like my favorite form factor to use all the time. We spend a lot of time working with this form factor, and I'm really passionate about it, because especially when I'm shooting on location, I'm often shooting on location, and it's always in apartments with 8-foot ceilings, and I'm in LA, so all these stealth actors are super tall, they're like 6'2", and I have this question of like, how am I supposed to light the 6'2" actor with an 8-foot
It's like,
ceiling?
where do I put the grip equipment in front of the light?
Exactly, like where do I put anything? But with fabric lights and with LED mats, I can shove them right up against the ceiling and still give them a nice top light that gives them a nice shadow across their chins and whatnot.
Oh, very, very cool. Brandon, thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you for spending time. Stephen, Michael, Zach, and hey, this is new to me. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.